Hello and welcome to Fresh to Death Comics. I'm your host, B. Luke. We are here with trying something new. If you are on YouTube, you could watch a live stream of our show. If not, I'm recording it. We're going to have a podcast of it later. But I just thought this would be fun to kind of experiment and take a look and see how this goes. Because I don't know how this looks or anything. So, all right. All right, so let us start. How have you guys been? It has been a little while. I want to say welcome to Germany and Madrid. You guys are brand new on the podcast. I saw you guys were listening out there. I think that's real cool. So I can't wait to see what other countries are listening next. I hope you guys are enjoying this. But yeah, we are. Yeah, we are live doing a live show. So this is exciting. We have a lot to talk about. Sorry, I missed out on the show last week. I was gone. My uncle passed away. Uh, kind of out of the blue. Kind of didn't really see it coming. Like I knew he was sick, but gosh, it wasn't an event to say the least. Gosh, I don't even know where to start because I mean, with COVID, you can't do anything anymore. There's limited numbers. You can do things, and I don't know. And then you get fights with everyone because they don't want to wear masks, and they do, and they don't. It's awful. And unfortunately, that's how my family is. So, yeah, I don't need this. Um, so yeah, so my uncle, the only the thing that got me, like it was sad. It was really I'm just like grief, I guess you will. And it didn't really hit me till my uncle is a magician. So during the Sarah, we call it a celebration of life in my family. So we go there, we celebrate. There's music, there's a slideshow. We had a preacher who gave this hell bent sermon that if you do not believe in Jesus, you will never see my uncle again. He would have loved that because my uncle is like, that's how he believes sermons should be. So I'm fine with that. But man, it didn't. So the magicians went up there, and it was funny because they go up there, and this preacher, she gave this whole speech about Jesus is the only answer, the only reason to do anything. If you don't follow Jesus, you're gonna go and burn for hell. There is no other way. There is no other answer. Believe in Jesus or perish. And these magicians get up here and they're like, well, we heard what the preacher believes. We don't believe that necessarily. So we don't know what happens when you pass away. And I just felt the whole room because it's a lot of my family. That's what they believe. And I felt in the room them going, mm-mm, no, this is not the way it is, sir. This is not the way. This is not how it goes. This is not how it is. This is wrong. And so they give this whole speech. So they give this whole speech. And at the end, they go, in remembrance of him, we're going to break this wand. They take the wand and we just go like, just snap. It's broken in half. And I am not devastated, but like it just hit me hard. If you've seen Harry Potter, it was very similar to like Sirius Snape. My heart just broke, and I was like, "Oh no! Like that's my uncle." Like it was really, really tough. So, and of course, what happens this week is it's all death books. We got the death of the Justice League. We got Odin's funeral. You got the TMNT, the Last Ronin Ninja Turtle story. So that's why this episode is the death of everyone, because apparently we all should be talking about death. So this is literally Fresh Death Comics. We're going to be talking about the death of a lot of these comic books this week. So let's just start it off with the death of the Justice League. That was the book I was most excited about. Now, if you've not seen the covers, you know what? If you guys are watching live stream, I'll show you the different covers. Special treat for you viewers. So you got this cover. This is like a statue of all of them. You've got the actual corpses. Let me make this a little, I might need to get a better light in here. I feel like I thought I had all the lights right, but I don't know if YouTube just makes it worse or not. I don't know how things work. And then here is that actual cover. This cover I love. Take a look at this. So it says the death of the Justice League. And like you see, like the death is all with their pictures inside of it, but it's one of those acetone covers. So you do it, and then you have the death of Brian B. Luke, the death of the B. Luke phenomenon. But no, inside of it is just a picture of everybody, and it's beautiful. So I don't know. I just really like this cover. It's probably one of the only things I liked, because this book is not a surprise. This is all you need to know. Now, I'm behind on my DC books. It's hard to get caught up, so I don't know. A lot's been going on. So apparently this Justice League Incarnate's been going around trying to stop this real bad guy. I forgot his name. Let me look it up. Ouch. Oh, my carpet's on fire. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Hopefully. All right. Here it is. So, what's his face? I'm going to show you guys a picture of the big bad guy. His name is Farah. And that's what it looks like. You know, not an impressive bad guy, but he is this villain, and he's powerful too. Like, I didn't expect him to be this powerhouse, and he's created his own Justice League of Evil, and he is now prepared to take down the Justice League, and that's what this book is. And it reminded me very similar of the Death of Superman issue, where we knew it was the death of Superman, we knew it was going to happen. And that's the story. We got what we wanted. We saw Batman die. We saw Superman die. We saw Wonder Woman die. We seen them all die. It's cool. It is. There is no false advertising in this book. It isn't like the wedding issue in the X-Men books, where you're like, oh, Kitty's gonna get married to Colossus, and it doesn't happen. But there's another wedding they get instead. No, this is the death of the Justice League, though I don't know how long it's going to last. I see solicitations that the Justice League are going to be back in another book. The thing, so I don't know what happened. Like, it's it looks final to me, but yet they're coming back. So I don't know if time's involved, because the only one who's not there is Barry. I know Barry's doing his own thing. They mentioned that the Flash was somewhere else, but the Flash is kind of the power of the time travel. So, but the way it looked like they were kicking him out of the whole multiverse, because this awesome page where, all right, this is little spoilers for you on the camera. So if you guys are watching this and are like, oh no, don't show us, this is bad, I don't want to see this, just don't look for a second. I'm gonna edit out the podcast here, so this is just a note for me. But here it is. So I mean, that looks pretty final to me. That I mean, except with all these pages, like what's going on? Because we're like, and then they're just becoming white pages. They have to go somewhere. So maybe they're trapped in a pocket of the multiverse. I don't know. I have no idea. So, but the book is just okay. It's getting what you want. You wanted action. It's not as bloody as I was expecting. Like that was probably the most violent. It was a lot of like explosions and then the person's on the ground. So I wasn't impressed with the level of I was expecting a lot more violence in it. But overall, it was a compelling story. You can read it with minimum knowledge of the Justice League stories. Like I don't know who a lot of the events that were happening. Like I didn't know about the Justice League Incarnate and the other Justice League teams that were helping out. But I was able to read it fine. So new reader wise, it's a great time to jump on. I mean, it's a gimmicky book, but it worked. It is what it is, and this is the story. I kind of wish they wouldn't have told us it was the death of the Justice League. I wish this would have been like one of the variants that you would have gotten, and it was a surprise that it was going to be the death of the Justice League. Then I would have been like, "Oh my god, guys, they killed the Justice League! Oh, I didn't even see it coming because they were just going at it, and Pharaoh's just like, be gone." You would have had me a lot more hyped up. But here's the spoiler right here. I know what's going to happen. I'm bored. I didn't want to be because it's action packed. And if you went in not knowing it was the death of the Justice League, you would have been like, "This is exciting. This is fun." But you didn't. You know, and you're bored. So I don't. It's a good pickup. I think the only one worth picking up those covers is probably the acetone one, just because it's a cool. I like gimmicky covers, and it's a gimmicky book anyway. So just give it to me. All right. Then let's talk about Thor. So this is the big milestone issue. It's that number there. The big milestone issue for Thor. We are doing the funeral for Thor, or for Thor's father, Odin. Odin passed away during the last arc. That was the Hammer of the Gods, and that story, it still has me reeling about what actually happened. And if you didn't read it, let me get you caught up. So, Thor's hammer, all this whole entire time, there has been a person inside, like not a person, but like a spirit, an entity inside the hammer that gave it its powers. And now the hammer gets released and starts causing havoc, and that's why everything happened these last couple of years in Thor's life, is because of this whole I'm getting hot. This whole hammer situation. Like people were picking up the hammers that they should have. He was they had messed with Donald Blake's secret world that he had and totally messed that up and released Donald Blake. The spirit inside of the hammer, Mjolnir, was just a ruthless, terrible motherfucker. Like just the worst of the worst. And he escapes and he's like, "Fuck you all, I'm doing what I want." And starts like just murdering people. So it was really cool. This you know, Odin finally, they fight, and at the cost of Odin's life. But at the end of the issue, Odin's trapped inside of the hammer. Like Thor has a new Mjolnir, and it's his daddy inside of it. So I don't know how. So I've been wondering. Well, let's get on with that. What happened? Like I need to know. Need to know. This issue does not tell you. This issue is a remembrance and a acceptance of not acceptance. This issue is just a memorial to Odin. That's all it is. And the only thing cool was there's this book. Thor's like, "We have the ancient textbooks, and it's tales of all the grand adventures of what's happened in my lineage and of the whole Asgard's rule, because there's only been a few kings. There was now Thor's king, Odin was before that, and then Odin's dad. I forgot his name, but there's only been 3 kings. So he opens these books and they tell stories of the past lives of important moments of Odin's life that Thor's looking through, and he was like, "This is a good remembrance." I will tell you, I was thoroughly kind of enjoyed with these stories. They're throwbacks, so they have no real effects upon our world, but it's a nice, just a book of history of the Asgard world, and they could really have made this into some kind of mini series, or they still could call it the Book of Asgard. Here's tales you haven't heard of, and they got Walt Simonson to do a story that was really good. Jason Aaron's story was good, and it doesn't even take place on Earth like the one for I think it was Jason Aaron's. It took place off world, so it wasn't even Earthlings Odin was dealing with. It was just years before Earth had been born. Um, and I know with that Avengers BC book that's coming out, they're going to be addressing that, and his adventures of in the BC era. But like that could actually be a book. But that's all this book is. It's just a remembrance of. Basically, this book is a issue 0 to some kind of event book, if you will. Just give me a second. Like I said, this is a live, unedited show. So if you're listening on the podcast, you don't get to see this part. I cut this part out because it's just me going to smoke a bowl. All right. So let me just mention this. So that was Thor. The ending, though, is leading up to the Banner of Hulks. Now I believe we talked about Hulk last time, and this whole he's controlling the body, but I think that this world that Donny Cates made the Hulk live in, and when they're messing with all the things, like there's this shifter thing to give Hulk more power, and they're like, we're raising it past its limits, and he's facing all these, his mind's facing all these things. We don't know really where this was. I was just expecting it to be some kind of dream world. I have a theory that's taking place on Valhalla, that somehow they've gone and tapped into the underworld, and that's where Hulk's living, that he can control it and mess with it and put different creatures in it to mess with Thor. I don't know, because Valhalla's broken open and it looks like the Hulk has just gone rampage through it. But it could have been Titan as well. Maybe that's where Titan was hiding and now he's been released upon the world. But I don't know. As Valhalla's gone, and that's why he's in the hammer, is because Valhalla's gone. Odin had nowhere to go, so he was like, "Shit, I'm going back in. I'm going to go in the hammer. That seems like a good place. I'll be a hammer," and that's where he ends up. So, very, very interesting to say the least. But all right. Should I do something silly? I think I should. This is just for you guys on the stream. There's a reason this has been hanging up here. Let's have a moment in silence for the Ninja Turtles. Actually, this is not comfortable to have on your head at all. That is the exact opposite. So, speaking of deaths, speaking of last things and last testaments, we have The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last event, the end of the Turtles. It's one last turtle story. And I was behind. I didn't read a couple of the issues before this. And then, well, the issue before this, issue 4, it took play it came out last June. Mind you, it's April now. So, almost a year it took to get this final issue out. That's a long freaking time. Like, and there's no explanation either. They weren't like, "Oh, we don't know why." What happened? It said something. Like, we don't know what's happening. So, it's just it comes out, and I have that is the only complaint I have is it took so long to come out. It is a beautiful, beautiful story of the Ninja Turtles and what happened. I mean, no one lasts forever. Nobody, everybody has their time. And this story, I really like. And if you've been reading it, so the first issue is kind of like the death of Raphael. The second one's like the death of Leonardo. The third and fourth one's like the death of Donatello. And this one here is just Mikey's just left. He's got to fight the one last person. He's got to fight Shredder's great grandson. Because no, it was his daughter. Was yeah, his daughter, and so is his grandson. So it's so amazing, and the art. If we can just talk about it for a moment, make sure I don't get you to a spoiler page. Yeah, that art is just amazing. I love this book. There are no complaints about it. The only complaint I could have is the epilogue was not needed. I know they in comic books you always have to continue something and always have the publishers like, well, we need to have room for growth, or maybe you as an art, you know, maybe you yourself don't want it to end, so you put an epilogue. The epilogue was not needed. Just take that out. The book was perfect as it was. Just leave it that way. Like it it's great. Casey Jones, she is so cool. She is the daughter of April and Casey. So it's like this. I finally got what I've always wanted. I was like, I wonder if they will, because they're always will they, won't they? And here they are. It happens, and it's really cool. And I really I really enjoyed this book a lot. There because I keep on saying I enjoy the book a lot, but I'm not giving depth and emphasis of why. And it's just the story. I like that it is the first issue dealt with, you know, how would Raphael die? Of course, he's gonna go rushing in with his size, going, "Let me go stab everyone. That's what I do." While everybody else is like, "Oh no, we got to be nice and calm and collective and not think things out." And so that's how he dies. He gets murdered by the hand because he just rushed in and everyone started getting at him. You're not like so. I hate that he's the first one to die. It breaks my heart because he's my favorite. And then you have the second issue. Uh, well, second or third issue. I was reading them together, so some of the two of them go together. However it goes. So then you have Leon settle this, and we will make sure that we have. Oh no, sorry. Come to Japan because we want peace. Is what they want. So the turtles go. Well, we want peace. So Shredder and Donatello go to Japan. why Leo and Mikey and April are at home. While they're at home, Shredder has attacked the house, and he Figatoad blew up the house, and so that's how Leo dies. Though we don't see Leo die. I will say that we see his broken sword. So, in the words of Hans, we have a death rule. No body, no death. No body, no blood, no death. I saw no body. I saw no blood. So that means no death. So Leonardo, in my mind, is still alive. I did not see that page. But according to this, he's dead. So is Casey Jones. And then April, she lost her right arm and then her left leg. I don't know how that happens, but that's how it happened to her. It's just so that was weird to see her like she's got this robot arm and she's like, hello, let me just attach all my parts because I'm just so yeah, so that's how he died. And then in Japan, Shredder's son is like, oh, have you talked to your sons recently? Because you're gonna die. And there's these archers, and there's this big battle, and Shredder or Splinter and Donatello, that's how they're killed. And that one hurt to read. Like, I can't imagine, like, all of a sudden you find out, oh, hey, your whole family just died. Because they don't know what happened. Here they are going, oh, have you checked on your family recently? So they think, oh my God, everyone we know just is dead, is gone. So, and they pass away. And then in this book here, I'm gonna put a little spoiler warning right here. So half a minute, we're going to uh, give a little bit of a spoiler. So give yourself some time. Here we go. I'm going to start it now. So lower your volume. Michelangelo goes up against Shredder's grandson, and they do this great big battle. And Shredder's son's got this suit that self heals and it's self repairing, but it's not like it. So he's just stabbing him and just here's something from Donatello. He's using all the weapons against him, and it's so heart wrenching to watch like this battle progress. And at the end, he finally kills Shredder, but it's at the death of himself. Like it's the last turtle story. So all right, so end with that spoiler. So I highly recommend this last Ronin book, especially the last one. Like it is gut wrenching and a final turtle story if there ever was one. Yeah, I got to fix the wall. I was going to think about maybe doing a green screen here, so as I'm talking, maybe I can throw images right here. That was kind of an idea, but I'm trying to figure out what color to use. This is it's a brand new place. I mean, I got this whole office studio down here, and it's awesome. It's amazing. I love it. All right. So is there anybody in chat? All right. So I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about next. Let's talk about a shitty book. All right. So, brand new book from Aftershock Comics called The Naughty List. It is a story about the origins of Santa Claus and what if someone had taken his naughty list. That's the premise. Does it happen in the book? No. The first issue is an origin story of their version of Santa, and I don't care. Santa, like, they give. I literally. The only difference is that this Santa drinks alcohol and does drugs. That's the only thing that makes his Santa different. He has elves. Like they show how the elves were created, but there's nothing. It's not original. It's not anything I haven't seen before in any other fucking Christmas movie. This movie is basically Fred. This book is Fred Claus. This book is every single sad, depressed Santa who doesn't know what to do, and then he gets that courage at the final second. He's gonna solve the mission. It is boring, and the artwork, the artwork's okay. Like there's nothing great about it, but also nothing good. Like it's just okay. Nothing to make me want to show you. This is my death book of the week. Like, do not pick this book up. I did not enjoy it. It was not fun. It was, if you want to know the origins of, now maybe the second issue, because it's in the last page that we find out that someone stole his naughty list. And so maybe issue 2 will be a little bit better in the fact of him being a little vigilante Santa Claus. But in this issue, just watch that the Santa Claus is coming to town. You'll be just as well informed, except you get great music. But this is also coming from somebody who never believed in Santa, someone who believed, his family has never celebrated Santa Claus, has never done anything. I learned as a child that Santa Claus is real. So talk about schools. Can you imagine, like, me in your, like, if you guys have kids and I am in your child's class going, Santa Claus isn't real, guys. My parents told me so. Your parents just lied to you, because that's how my parents are. So, needless to say, school wasn't the best time for me. but nevertheless, so that's where I'm just telling you that to let you know where I stand on Santa Claus, that I care so little about Santa Claus. Like, I picked it up because Amy likes Santa, and we've been talking about it in the house, because I kind of don't give a shit about Santa. Like, why the fuck do we celebrate a guy who breaks into your house, steals your cookies and milk, and leaves a shitty present? Or a good present. I don't know what Santa leaves you. I know he makes trains and stuff, but it's not like Santa is the one giving. Like, does Santa give you the big gifts? Because for me, my big gifts are the blessings of the Lord. And I know you guys did get that in your world. So, but needless to say, the naughty list is one that should be off your list. Don't get it. It's a death book. Woo! That was a rant of rants. Want to talk another book that's on my shit list? Spider-Man. Spider-Man's on my shit list, but this cover here by Patrick Gleason is amazing. It's Patrick Gleason put out one of the best covers that is a regular cover price for Spider-Man. Like, like the fact that this book, like, I was like, when I saw it, I go, oh, this must be the rare variant. This must be the 1 in 100. This must be whatever. But no, it was just a regular cover, and it blows my mind because the artwork is too good. Patrick Gleason, you have outdone yourself, sir. This is probably one of the best covers I have ever seen. Let's start at the bottom, go from the top. Oh, the details on this, fantastic. Like, oh, this cover alone. But I mean, there's so many covers. So let's talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is number 1. I know we talked about Spider-Man last time, not last time, but the last time we talked about Spider-Man, he had battled the Red Goblin, and he was facing Ben Reilly, who had become Chasm, and now we're cut 6 months later. 6 months later. 6 months later, that we go into it, and I don't know what's happened. Like, there was this big event. It looks like Peter. Here, I'll show you guys. I can show you. So here's the opening page. So opening page is this huge crater. It's like what's happened? Why there's smoke? And Peter is just broken. He's just screaming, and he is done. And then the next page is numbers months later. So I don't know what's happened. I mean, in a half a year's time, how much can things change? How much can things really involve and go on? And Peter has broken up with MJ for some reason. I don't know why. And if you haven't read it, I'm going to do a spoiler here. MJ has kids, and I don't understand it because I, I don't know how babies work, but I'm pretty sure that you can't make them 10 years old within that time frame. Like, unless this is a clone version or a fake version of Mary Jane, like, there's no way this can happen. Because in Renew Your Vows, like, has she been hiding Paul this whole time? Paul is the man she had kids with. I don't understand it. I don't like it. And I am furious because, like, the whole book is great. Tombstone, John Romita Jr. is on the top of his game. He is killing it with his art. Like, Tombstone and the Rose, and we have this all going on, and we have like the Randy story. If you didn't know, Randy Robinson is dating the Beatle. Oh, here, I know who the Beatle is. Hang on, I got a picture for you. This is one of the posters I was trying to hang out. It's from Superior Foes. That's how I met her. So this is the Beatle. This is Tombstone's daughter. But she is an independent woman who does whatever the fuck she wants. So, like, she is dating the arch nemesis of Tombstone's, like, the arch Robbie Robinson and Tombstone have had this rival for like the last 20 years. They hate each other. Like, they grew up together, and they're just these two. They always butt heads. They Stone Tombstone sent Robinson to jail for a little bit in one of the stories. Like, they have had some beef going at each other, and it's amazing. And now here it is. These guys are fighting. They got Romeo and Juliet situation where their kids love each other. And I wish there was a little more to that, because he was just like, she's gonna do what she wants. I don't care. That's not how Tombstone talks at all. Tombstone's more like, I don't care. She does what she wants. And that's it. That was it. Eating dinner. I want to see more action of that. Like, I'm so upset about Mary Jane and Peter, because for me, that is a relationship that needs to happen. I know what the problem was in the 90s. The problem is that they stuck Mary Jane in the house all day. She wasn't allowed to go out and have adventures. And when she did, she was preyed upon by men. So what are you going to do? You know? So that's my problem with having Spider-Man and Mary Jane be separated, because they're meant to be together. And why you want to break that up is beyond me, just to cause conflict. And I love Zeb Wells, but why are you doing this to me, Zeb? Why? Because it's not here. If you guys are watching online, I will show you. Where is that scene? Because and the thing. So, and the thing is, I'm not going to drop this book. Not going to do anything like that. Oh, that end story was cool. Oh, here it is. So yeah, here's apparently the man she's been with. And here are her kids. That don't make no sense to me. That is not okay. Like, you can't just. So the only thing I'm thinking of is Paul is some kind of villain, and he has created these kids and messed with her mind, and kind of a Mysterio thing, and has just been tricking her. And maybe this is a continuation of, oh, I forgot his name, but there was this big Harvey Weinstein type character in the comics who was attacking Mary Jane and ruining her life. Like, it'd be cool to see if this is a continuation and a fulfillment of that story. Because honestly, we didn't really get any conclusion with that. It was just like, well, he's big and powerful. We just gotta let him be, and hopefully he'll leave us alone sooner or later. And he did. So this would be cool if this was just a little throwback to that and continuing that story of like how a Harvey Weinstein type person can really mess with you and destroy your life and manipulate you and gaslight you and trick you for their own terrible, terrible reasons. So, so that's all the comics I want to talk about this week. But here's a little special thing for you guys. If you guys want to read more books by Marvel, you can. It's free. Inside of these books, they used to give out codes, and I was going to, because I was going to give them out here. I know I've given out a few of them over the years, as free little things like, oh, who wants a free giveaway? And I was going to give out more, but they don't allow you to. All you got to do is take your copy, send a picture to marvel.com/redeemhelp, take a picture of the cover, and you got your own free digital code to read. So if you don't want to read all these titles, if you want to see what I'm talking about with Spider-Man, you can read it for free. Just go to your local comic book shop, take a picture, and you have, I believe it's a month. Let me double check. I believe it's a month to get it in and take a picture of it. No, you have till June. So let's see. You have till June. So you have, the whole month of May to get this done. So until June, you have this book. Go to your comic book shop. They have them on the shelves. Take a picture of it. And then just send it to Marvel, and they give you a free digital code just like that. That's how easy it is. So any title I talk about, if you don't know where to jump in on comics, look at the number ones, and just take a picture of it and start into it. Every number one should be new reader friendly. And I try to read all of them to tell you whether or not they are or not. This Spider-Man issue is new reader friendly. You can kind of, if you haven't read Spider-Man before, you'll be okay jumping in here. They give you all of the background exposition that you need. So me reading it going, oh yeah, I know that. And as a brain injury, it's kind of nice to get those reminders, but they're for you. They're for their new readers. So for me, I have no problem seeing where he's talking to someone like, don't you remember that you robbed us a few months ago when you were saying that you were evil under someone else's spell? Oh, yeah, I was. It was a terrible time. And they say, see Spider-Man this issue. That's helpful because maybe you didn't realize that was the same person. And as a new reader, I want as many people to jump onto this book as possible. I want more people to read comics because comics are fun. And when you make a fun book like this, besides the Mary Jane thing, it's great. I love the mystery that's going on with Tombstone. Like, his house blows up. Someone blows up Tombstone's house. We think it's the Rose, but I don't think it is. I know they said it was. I think it's a ploy. It's a trick. So before we go, I wanted to talk about Moon Knight because, oh gosh, oh gee, oh golly, how can be? All right. Where is it? Where are my messages? Oh, I have to go into my other one. Hang on. Sorry, guys. So, give me a second. All right, here we go. Because I wanted to get the quote exactly. This Wednesday is the final episode of Moon Knight. It has been blowing my mind. It has the Jeff. Now, if you haven't been reading Moon Knight or you haven't been watching Moon Knight, I would I saved this for last for that purpose, so that way you guys can turn it off. This is all we're going to talk about. So if you've enjoyed this show, hopefully you did. Thank you for coming in. I don't think we're going to talk about anything else, but we're going to talk about Moon Knight now. So this is all gloves off. All right. So let's now talk about Moon Knight. So we are one issue away. Oh, you haven't watched it yet? Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but it is fantastic. It is what they are doing. It is a man with a disability. Like he's got a multi-personality disorder, and you never know what is real and what is going on in his head. And you just need to. You need to watch it. Oh, it is fantastic. But unfortunately, I may be the only one. My fellow co-host Hans sent me this message. He was very upset with me. He goes, "The MCU Moon Knight is for children. They yada yada over the best parts. Netflix could do better. I'll need to watch John Berthel's Punisher in order to cleanse my palate of this nonsense." That's a quote from Hans because he hates it. And I questioned it because I was like, what a I don't know if your kids should watch it, The Bearded Ginger, because there's a lot of language and some violence. Like it is heavily violent. I would say it's in uh the same vein as Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Iron Fist and those. So it's fantastic, but yeah, your wife should watch it though. She should enjoy it because I'm having Amy watch it, and she's like, "Whoa!" 'Cause it's not just superheroes fighting. Like I didn't watch Hawkeye. Like I started it, but it's just okay. It's just people being superheroes out on the street. With Moon Knight, it's a lot of physiological stuff in your mind and going, "Oh, what is this? What am I watching? What is going on in the mind of someone who is crazy?" Like, could you imagine if we're talking here and all of a sudden I just go off screen? Hello, everybody. How's it going? My name's Stephen Grant. So, I don't know a lot about YouTube, but I know that there are a lot of viruses on the computer. So you need to watch. You'd be like, what the fuck? You're just doing an accent. But here I am, not knowing what I'm doing. Like, here I am. I'm Stephen Grant. I am not the B Luke phenomenon. I am not me. Like I am a completely different person. And then when they meet each other at certain times, because you look in a mirror and all of a sudden they're trying to fight for control of who can watch it, it fucks with your mind because you're like, who's real? Is Mark real? Is Steven real? And I know if you've read the comics, there's a lot more personalities inside of him. So it is fantastic. All right, one last book I want to talk about is Spider-Punk. It grew up not knowing a lot about music. My parents kind of kept me in a box. And Bearded Ginger, you were like one of the only ones showing me like a little bit of like Rocket, like Pillar was like this huge deal. I was like, oh, Pillar. And you showed me Eminem. Like, if it wasn't for you, I doubt I would have been on the music journey I was in. But so when I'm reading Spider Punk, I get all these angst, and my partner Amy, she's all about all these bands that are all punky, and I'm like, so I'm reading this book, and I can feel the music, I can feel like the angst in it, but it's like I'm deaf to the book. Like I don't know what the music should sound like. And I was like really kind of sad at the end. I was like, man, I kind of feel like I'm missing something that I don't know a lot of punk music. Like the closest I have is like an MXPX situation, but that's not even punk. That's just like Christian angst we can't go outside today because we gotta go to church. That's all it is. It's just like we're lonely and depressed because we love Jesus and no one doesn't. Yeah, it's all MXPX is. So, like, I feel like I have a wrong interpretation of what punk music is. So, so at the end of this book, um, the writer, he actually writes this whole there is a spider punk writer. I forgot the writer of it. Oh yeah, Cody Ziegler. Cody Ziegler is the writer of Spider Punk, and at the end he goes, "Yo, I made a playlist that you can listen to." So I reread the book with the playlist, and oh my goodness! So it's on Spotify, and it's kind of it felt like like this must be what deaf people feel like when they can hear for the first time, or maybe like the Amish when they see a cell phone for the first time, they're like, what is this thing? This is like that's what it felt like to me. Like all of a sudden, like the book started making sense, and I'm like, I can finally hear what the book is about in the music, and it's an experience that like it just changed. It just made me love Spider Punk so much, and I've never really dealt with that before, and I just really enjoyed it. Bearded Ginger, are you watching anything fun on anything? Did you see the Batman? Oh, I still hope he's here. All right, because I did see Batman. I saw it over the holiday, not Easter, but 420. And I will say, like we were making butter, so I was a little out of my mind, but I wanted to be for the Batman because I'm not a huge Batman fan. Batman is okay in the comics, it's he goes around punching people and going, "Hey, I'm Batman. I'm not wearing hockey pants." That's really all there is to him. So when I went into this movie, I expected to enjoy it, and instead I was bored. I feel like it's one of the boringest Batman movies I've ever watched. Paul Dano, I think, killed it as the Riddler. I'm upset that he was in this movie because, like, when you have Paul Dano and Jeffrey Wright, they are like A-list actors. They are fantastic. And then they're with shit people. You're with Robin Patterson, who, no offense, I think his acting abilities is subpar. I didn't really like him in The Lighthouse. I've tried watching him outside the franchises. He's just okay. I mean, Paul Dano, no matter what he's in, he's fantastic. And this latest Batman, I really was just bored. Like I was told, like, oh, you're gonna love it. It's like a Saw movie, and I was like, yeah, it's a Saw movie for 5 seconds, and then like even the Riddler's clues, they edited it so hard of like what bounces but doesn't go down. Oh, like he knows it immediately. It's not like I expected. Like when you're telling me you're making a realistic Batman movie, I would have expected a pause and been like, "There's all kinds of things that can, but you can't. This would be the answer." The way they worked this Batman movie, and they didn't. I mean, and let's not even talk about the special effects on Batman. Batman had some of the worst graphics I have seen in such a long time. Like, I was watching it, and it looks all of a sudden, it looks like I'm watching a video game. Like, you know how you're watching video, like, you know how you're playing video games, and all of a sudden it cuts to a cut screen that's usually better than the whole game you've been playing, and then all of a sudden it cuts out, and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is the video game footage." That's what I felt like. We were watching a movie, and we had the reverse effect where all of a sudden we cut to a cut scene where it's a video game, and he's like trying to climb out off that bridge. I looked at my partner, Amy. I said, "Amy, am I wrong, or is this my video game that I've been playing the last couple of weeks?" And she looks at me and she goes, "I was going to say the same thing. I just didn't want to upset you because I know how much you like these movies." And I was like, "Yes, this movie is not good. This movie is shitty. This movie is bad." All right, so the bearded ginger left. So let's go back to Moonlight. So I'm going to save this for a different video. Like I said, this is the unedited version. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm on Facebook. All right. So, ooh, shit's just falling all over the place. All right, so let's start over because I don't want to spoil Moon Knight for Matt, or the bearded ginger, I should say. I didn't want to spoil it for the bearded ginger because if you haven't seen it, you need to. So here we go. That's for I'm recording this for the podcast, so that's what that was. All right, so Moon Knight's out. I love Moon Knight. I think it's great, but Hans hated it. Hans said the MCU Moon Knight is. Oh, I'm going to keep that part where I read it. So I said, "I welcome your opinion. Could you expand on this?" I said, "Why do you hate Moon Knight so much?" I think here's exactly what I said. I said, "I welcome your opinion, sir. Could you expand on this? I think the yada yada works. So switching between characters, you wouldn't know. I'm assuming you're talking about switching between the violent parts." And he goes, "You're correct. The time lapse worked correctly, but for a moment. But I am not afraid of Moon Knight, and I absolutely should be. Show me there is no line that they won't cross to get shit done. Don't just tell me about it. And show me why. I am not afraid of Ganishnu either. To its detriment, the story is currently lacking an origin for Mac and Gishnu. Jake is coming. 6 issues is not enough space to effectively introduce a main character that's actually 3 characters and a god, and then introduce a villain and a supporting cast." God damn it, Ahaz. He sent this to me a couple right before my uncle died, and this whole so it's been a few weeks. He sent it to me then, and God damn it, Hans, you're right. It's not enough time. Like, I feel like I'm just getting a snippet of Moon Knight, and I'm not afraid of Moon Knight. And when I had initially wrote this, I didn't really feel Moon Knight as this vengeance, if you will. Like, the Moon Knights I've been reading, I've been starting to read Moon Knights all over again, and I start with the first series, and the first series is not good till it gets to its end. And there's this issue. It's called the bloody stum drum or something like that, or the drum beat rolls. It's like issue number somewhere around there, like the quarter number. And it's about this guy who goes around and he's just so full of anger, and he just punches everything, and he wants just somebody to come at him. Like, he's that person. I don't know if you've met that person who has really been down and out and just done with life, and they just want somebody to beat the shit out of them that hopefully they'll die. So they walk up to someone, they're saying like, "Yo, you a bitch." Hopefully they get their ass beat. But no. Like, no, like people will punch him, but he gets back up and he's just like, oh, so finally he comes across Moon Knight, and Moon Knight stands there and he's like, I'm not gonna punch you. Like, you need help. You're not okay. And he's like, punch me, motherfucker. You're a shithead. And he swings at him. He's like, swinging his fist. And finally, Moon Knight's like, fuck this shit. Like, stop it. And it, like in college, I had a similar situation with my roommate. Like, my roommate got high on drugs. I don't know what he had taken at the time, but he was high as fucking fuck. And he comes at me with a knife and he's like, you're gonna die, Punto. And Punto is bitch for Spanish. He's like coming at me with a knife. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And mind you, he's an El Salvadorian. He's maybe 4 foot tall. Like, I feel like my girlfriend's taller than this dude. He's like a little child to me, because and so, like, I grab his arm and I just pick him up and I throw him on the couch or on this chair, and I throw, like, because he's so tiny, I didn't realize how much he floated. So I threw him on top of the chair and kind of cracked his ribs a little bit, or bruised his ribs. I don't know what I did to him. It was self-defense. I will say that in case this ever comes out. But Roberto's like crying in the shower, but he's still like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you just need to chill out. So I threw him in the shower. I turned on the water on him, and I was like, you need to chill the fuck out, bro. Like, I get it, like that sense of need to fight back. And then Moon Knight finally has enough, and he's like, stop it. And he starts beating this guy to a pulp. And I get what you mean, Hans. I get it. I am not afraid of Ganishnu. I'm not afraid of Moon Knight. And I should be. And I don't. But how do you fix that with a Marvel character? You can't have everybody hating a character. You have to have at least some character you like, because there's people who don't know the history like you and me. So how do you make this happy medium? And I think right now with this latest issue, with them traveling through the sands and trying to balance the scales, I think this is a good way to kind of introduce maybe who the real person is, because now we find out that so Mark Spector has died, and he ends up in this like purgatory, Egyptian purgatory, if you will. Like, I don't know about Egyptian death like I should, and I know I knew about it before the injury, but like it's gone now. So I've been trying to do some research, but I don't see it. I'm trying to, find it and trying to learn about it, because I was like, this is important to know. But in all honesty, I, if you after everything that's said, like, I was in a cult and now I'm out of it. And I'm like realizing, like, oh man, like, is Ganishnu, the Egyptian world, just cultish? But if that's real, what's real? What's not real? I'm in a whole fucking, I went on a spiral. So, needless to say, I think when Mark Spector dies and he ends up in this Egyptian underworld, it's a nice place for us to kind of get some stability of what's been going on, because Stephen Grant was created as a safety net. Like, it would be cool to see, like, at the end of the series, where he finds out that there's the worker version of him, the one that who's always trying to hustle and make money, the taxi driver, Jake Locke. And so that's my prediction, is at the end of this, we're going to have Mark Spector hang out and just do all that. But we got one issue to go. Mark Spector is in, like, we find out Mark Spector is the actual one. He created Stephen Grant because his mother has died. Or his mother was abusing him. So he created Stephen Grant as like an escape of like all the happiness. Like, when things get really rough. No, Mark was created because of his mother's abuse. That's what it is. I'm sorry. So Mark is created because his mother has been abusing him. But then Steven falls off of the train. Or is it Mark who falls off? Someone falls off. It's been a hot second since I watched it. No, Steven falls off because Mark is left on there. And he's like, oh, no, Mark falls off? Steven falls off. I can't remember who falls off. Someone falls off. And then we're just like, oh my God, like what's going to happen now? Like, how do you save him? What do you do? This last episode, I'm so excited for. Like, I have no clue what to expect. I want to see Jake Lockley, but at the same time, I don't think this is the time and place. This should not just be a 6-issue limited series. This needs to be a continuing series, and we need to know what happens. And I want more Moon Knight. This character is fantastic, and we just need more of it. That's my final thing. All right, so this has been Fresh Death Comics. Oh shit! Again. Oh my God! I'm lighting the house on fire. Fuck! I'm literally lighting my house on fire. This is what you have for having carpeted life. All right. So, guys, this has been Fresh Death Comics. I've been your host, B. Luke. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Let me know what you guys think. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Catch us up. Hit us up. Let us know what you guys think. I'll read your comments over the air. Welcome, Germany and Madrid again. Hola and Guten Tag to our German and Madrid friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you see you guys next time. This has been Fresh Death Comics. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next time. Woo! Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys for tuning in to Fresh Death Comics on the live Facebook stream or YouTube stream. That's all I have for now. I'm going to edit this show and get it out. So thank you for watching the unedited version, the unedited, censored version of Fresh Death Comics. Pieces.